Hi, everybody. This week on the Sports Initiative podcast, I sit down with a good friend of mine, Gary McDermott. We discuss his philosophy into coaching and how this has changed over time, what he describes as an IDP blizzard and what good practice looks like in his opinion, and how he co-creates game plans and sessions with his players. As you will all be aware, we have some exciting projects on the horizon. To help us be able to achieve this, please make sure you share this podcast with a family member or friend to help us grow and reach a greater audience. I hope you enjoy.
I've been working on loads of stuff at the moment. We'll discuss it in a minute. Like stuff I've been trying.
Well, it'll be good to discuss.
Yeah.
Gaz, I'd say this is the shortest interview timescale from trying to get it in the diary to getting it in the diary I've ever done on this podcast. So thank you very much for joining us. I know you've just finished your breakfast, you're on your way to a course today, but how are things in your world? Are you all good?
Yeah, I'm all good, thanks, Righty. Yeah, all good. Like I say, yeah, just at a services on the M25, just driving to one of my courses on the Premier League. So yeah, I'm glad to be joining you.
Good. And people may sense from the tone that we know each other quite well. I've worked with you for a number of years from when we were looking a little bit, well, maybe you were looking a little bit younger. I've looked about this for years, but we're looking a little bit younger and a little bit less stressed. But for people that maybe don't know you, haven't come across you before, do you just want to give us a bit of a whistle-stop tour, I guess, of who you are and a little bit of your journey of how you've got to this point?
Yeah, sure. So Gary McDermott, coach, now husband and father. Um, I was coaching at Bristol City. I've been at Southampton. I was at Southampton for nearly 10 years. And now I'm currently at Forest Green in the professional development phase. Um, I'm on various courses, been on various courses, just trying to find out more about coaching, life. And probably the biggest course I'm on at the moment, I'd say, is fatherhood, just trying to navigate that minefield of no sleep, early mornings, and the juggling act of working full time and trying to see your family.
Which I think anyone in football who's got children can attest is not an easy balance to find. So yeah, I know
Yeah.
from speaking to you, it's always an interesting one. I think what's interesting for me knowing you as well, that's probably something that before you would have only mentioned the football stuff. Whereas
Yeah.
now I think adding in the life stuff is quite an interesting distinction. Why do you think that is?
Well, I guess I was very career focused for a number of years, and going on different courses, speaking to different people, older people, kind of said there'd be more to it, don't worry. And then when I've had my son, certainly realized that actually there is more to this life, and that's probably made some of my decisions career-wise, really, is how I can see more of my family.
Awesome. And I think this is probably a really nice segue into your philosophy as a coach, because I think that grounding of what you had previously to what you have now is interesting. So, if I were to ask you, what's your philosophy of coaching? If we put it into two strands, so if I said to you on the pitch, what do you believe? How do you think the game should be played? What would we see from a Gary team? And then also from off the pitch in terms of how you think an environment should be created for players, what your beliefs are in terms of what you need to give to them and what they need to give to themselves and you and the program. What do those two things look like?
Yeah, I think they're big questions, by the way. Half an hour is quick. I think on the pitch, what you'd see from a team is expressive. I think you'd definitely try and see the team winning the ball back as quickly as possible, but you'd also see us being expressive on the ball. I don't, I'm not one that believes like you have to play a rigid this or rigid that, or I think the game is becoming so fluid that players just roll in. Doesn't have to be a fullback rolling in, can be centre backs rolling in, can be nines dropping in. Anything you can do to overload a line and dominate the ball, dominate possession is probably what you'd see within sort of my team. You definitely see some risks taking place. Like if I go through the team at the moment, how we're building is quite risky. However, the boys are absolutely loving it, like absolutely loving dominating the ball and taking those risks to then progress through the pitch. We scored a goal the other day actually that was like 27 passes before the goal, which is, if you're a statistician and you look at stats like myself, it's quite rare actually in football. Um, Normally it's within a turnover or within 8 seconds. So yeah, maybe that breaks a little bit of a trend. But yeah, certainly that. Boys, we're at a point at the moment actually where the boys are like shouting across to me. So they're quite a lot to me at the moment instead of me to them, they're to me. So, oh, it's this, it's that, which they thrive off of and absolutely love. So yeah, I guess that would be what you'd see team wise. And then the other one was around coaching. Yeah. I've actually changed my beliefs quite a bit on coaching as I've gone through life, I guess. Um, I was brought up in an era that was probably like coach is king. The coach, you do that. The coach tells you to do that. You do that. Um, and I was, for anyone that knows me, I am 6'5", but I feel like I'm a bit of a Ronaldo or a Messi on the ball. Um, so I was always maybe pigeonholed centre half, but I felt like I was a bit of a winger at heart. But yeah, anyway, that's different. But I feel that there's always different things that you can do. So, and players being involved in stuff. So I recently broke my leg and then I broke my metatarsal as well after that. So I decided to try and experiment certain things. So I wanted players to be involved in the coaching, in the game plans. So I sort of come up with a program that players would deliver, watch opposition for the Saturday. They would deliver kind of how they thought we could do a game plan, how we could win the game or dominate the game within our style. And then throughout the week, they would kind of suggest like what it is that we wanted to work on, what we needed to work on, but co-created. So like I would send them the clips that I felt like, look, this is where I think we can win it. This is what we think we can do. But I wouldn't ever tell them. I'd just say, look, here's some clips of the opposition. Tell me what you think. And I would probably pre-mortem that this is what it's going to look like. Here's the sessions. Um, but it was the best thing I've done. The lads, like, they come up with loads of really good things geared around sort of our style. But also, there's been some things that I was like, oh, I didn't even see that. Little rascals, that's quite good. That is actually brilliant. And I've just nicked loads. They've come up with so many good things, and I'm like, oh, because you're getting to see from a player's perspective, and then throughout training, you get to see like what is it they buzz off of, what do they want more of? Because I think within coaches, there's a big myth around winning and stuff like that. But the one thing that I think never fails is the players always want to win. So no matter what, they always want to win. So doing the game planning has been like a real sort of eye opener of like how bad they want to win, but within a style. So it's like they would present to me on a like in the week, and I'd just ask questions around what ifs really, what if they do this, what if they do that. And what I'm basically doing is just seeing which lads are in on the style and which ones I need to probe a little bit more. And there was one I said, oh, we could go longer there. The lads were like, nah, I don't think so, because that's not where our overload is. And also like our styles we want to build and play through. So that's been pretty cool. So I guess my coaching style, as it were, is more co-creating uh session plans, game plans, and like development plans. So within the game plan meetings with the players, they'll say certain things like, "Oh, this is how we're going to win," or "This is how we're going to set up," and then I just basically plug reminders of like, "Oh, you remember how we said like everyone wanted to develop and be really good at trying to just develop, and no matter what the scenario was, that if they were trying the right thing to make them a better player, we wouldn't judge them." So I just basically prime that and I go, oh, how does it work putting him there? Does that help him with his ILP or does that help him with his heading that he wants to get better at? Players will just hold the hand. No, you're right. Are you happy to do that? Yeah, okay, right. He's in there. We're going to do it like that. And then I just replay clips as well. So in their debrief that they've prepared, along with myself, I have one as well. Just go, look, is this an area where that person could get better at this? Are we happy with that? If it goes to the striker and he scores, are we happy with that? Yep, we're all happy with that. He's going to get better. So I guess, yeah, co-creating and reminding basically of like what we're here for, what we're all here for. Like, I'm here to be a better coach and person. You're here to be a better player and person. And you might fall into the coaching category if you don't make it as a player, or if you're a player, you'll be a well-rounded human. And if Pep Guardiola asks you to present in front of someone, you'll be cool with it. And equally, if you don't make it as a player and you go for a job interview, you're going to use those presentation skills for later in life. So I think that's a long-winded answer there, mate. So yeah, I guess
Man,
that's about.
no, that's good. I think it gives loads of bits to probe on. So I think the first bit is how did you go around ensuring that one, everyone's part of the game plan, but two, it's not the same voices and same individuals that are doing a lot of the work. I'm going to talk purely from a personal perspective here, and I'll use the college work as an example. I used to get on all right with my college work. Like, I wouldn't be too bad at getting all the bits I needed to and on the BTEC done. The number of boys I had going, right, just let me copy you. Just let me copy you because it's something that they weren't engaged with and didn't really want to do. So they found like an easy out. I'd imagine for some of the boys, they really buzz off going back and looking at the game plans and looking at the videos, whereas for other boys, spending time in front of a screen might be more challenging. So how would you go around making sure different voices are heard and that different people are giving their input and ideas and are actually watching it and not just piggybacking off of someone else's work?
Yeah, I think what we've tried to do is not make it like it's a load of work. It's geared around them and their performance and how they can win a game, which is a common interest that they've all got. And they all want to get better at football. So I think the buy-in is there straight away. The other thing is like we'll break it up. So within our style, what does it look like for this player? So could you work on how we're going to press? Could the other person, can you work on how we're going to build? Next person, maybe the create zone. And then you have maybe the goalkeepers really like set pieces. So I allow that just on a rotation of the goalies. You work on the set pieces or defending and attacking of what we're going to do. And we just rotate round. It's not like there's a set um, person or people, just making sure that each person has the opportunity to deliver different aspects. And if some players go, look, actually, I'm really interested in the out of possession stuff, then it's just like a conversation of going, that's great. You can do the out of possession, but I also think if you want to develop and get better, you're going to have to look at the in possession as well. Yeah, I get that. Can I just feel confident on the out first? Yeah, no problem. Like as soon as you feel confident, let me know and we'll go on the in possession. So I think like again, philosophies of like how you treat people is it's probably the main thing. It's like, okay, he's not confident on that yet. Let's ease him in. Once he's confident, let's go through the next bit of the out of the comfort zone stuff, the in possession, as it were.
And then talking about the easing in part, it's a little bit of a 180 from what you experienced and probably how you coached previously to where you are now. So what's got you to that point? And were there any little anecdotes or bits that you remember where you've kind of dipped your toe into the water a little bit of going, right, I'm going to try and give them a bit more freedom here because I don't think you would have gone from being, coach led majority of the time to completely co-create in the space of a week. It's going to be quite a long process to get yourself to that point where you feel comfortable with it, where you know how to frame it, because that is part of it of making sure as a coach you know how to frame it so it adds value to yourself and to the group. So yeah, how did you get to that point?
Yeah, I guess from my playing days, I was always annoyed at the style or being told just to shell it, as an example. And I was like, I think there's more to this. And when I'm trying to play out, work out problems, problem solve, and then you get from the side saying shell it, it's like, whoa, come on, there's more to this. So I guess that prompted the bit of like the player's view in me, like what is the player's view of style or how we're going to win, as an example. Um, and then I had the experience of going on like different player led tournaments, seeing how they were run. I also went into study visit at Bath Rugby, and I was amazed at the day before the game, the captain was running through the plays. This coaches went there, so I thought, oh, that's interesting, and seeing how engaged they were. Um, I think it was Stuart Hooper was the captain of Bath Rugby at the time. Just he was running through it and seeing how engaged all the players were. I was thinking, wow, there's got to be something to this.
So sorry, explain that to people that might not know the context behind it. The day before the game is a
Yeah,
captain's run through.
yeah. So I don't know if this happens at every club. I think rugby are way ahead in the co-create um, stage of things. But like the day before the game, so they'd have all the game prep, and then the day before the game, the captain would then run through, I don't know, line outs, or my rugby knowledge is pretty poor, but line outs or how they're gonna break certain lines and just run through plays, which I found really interesting. And the coaches were there, but they were just observing, and it's like, ooh, aren't they going to say anything? Or my experience was like, aren't they going to say anything? And then when I asked the questions, they're like, no, no, that's rugby. That's like the players, we want them to be elite athletes. So yeah, they've got to come up with a part of the game plan as well, and make sure they nail it and get at they were doing it for absolute clarity. Um, so yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And like I said earlier, the player led stuff I found interesting, the different tournaments. I probably didn't agree with coaches deciding on the day or day before, oh, we're just going to do player led today. I felt that was lazy coaching or lazy player ownership work. I felt that it probably needed a layer in between of a build up for what that looked like. Um, so yeah, I guess those experiences. Um, Also seeing my son grow up as well. So there were certain things where he needed my help, didn't need my help. That balancing act. Mainly at gymnastics, actually, there were certain things that he needed my help on. Some things he was like, "No, I want to try that on my own." Made me think, "Oh, maybe there's a lot of this entwined that, um, yeah, could be developed further within me." And I'm very much making loads of mistakes, making loads of learning. Um, but I wouldn't go back to any other way. Uh, I, yeah, I definitely wouldn't. As an example, the team, we were trying to embed the style, trying to play. We weren't very successful at the start. Then I had done my metatarsal, couldn't really get on the grass as well. So I had to kind of really, that was the turning point in, what was it, September, October? No, yeah, October time. That was the turning point where I kind of was like, right, this is where I'm going to attack this now. This is what I want to take it. Spoke to my mentors on it. They were on board. Um, and yeah, we went for it. And I think we went like the next 9 games. I think we'd won 7 and drew 1 and lost 1. So like kind of made me go, well, something in this. There's definitely something in this. Um, yeah, so I guess yeah, that's where it developed or where it evolved.
And how does it link into IDPs or ILPs or however you want to call them? I know historically, particularly at the younger age groups, it's easy to give them tasks to say you're going to go and work on this, and this is what I want you to do as a drill. It seems like there's a little bit of shift in the industry of giving them a level of autonomy to go, well, this is what we think you should work on. Do you agree? Or is there something else you would rather work on? And then asking the question, well, how can you work on it, and what do you need from us, and what do you need from parents, etc. But how do you, as an entire program, I guess, help the lads around those IDPs, ILPs, and making sure that they're doing the bits that they need to do in order to get better?
Yeah, I've been in the IDP blizzard probably for about 15 years. Um, I probably feel that my overarching belief on it is I think clubs maybe at the moment are going too IDP focused, technical IDP focused, and not enough team focused would be one, or like how they're going to play. Um, so that is my overarching theme. How I've tried to link that together is the players will, so I've gone through like strengths, area to improve, and then like key play and position action, and like 3 sort of main areas. Um, along with, so as an example, if I've got a player who has got heading, as an example, he's got time in his heading, um, and getting first contact in the box, how we intertwine that with S&C is like their hex bar comes out, he's working on his jumping that way. I don't really see many intertwining all the disciplines. But then also they'll go back, view their footage, clip up certain things. So free what went well, free even better ifs. And then we sit down on a weekly basis and go through it. But also when we're doing like IDP sessions, so I'm a big believer in opposed. I don't really do much unopposed work. So we have an IDP session. We'll get clusters of players together and go, right, let's design a session now that involves all of you working on your IDP. And then, yeah, for me, an IDP needs to be something that happens in the game as well. Like if it happens in the game, you need to train it. That's how I'd work with it. And then, like I said, yeah, just constant reminders really of like, oh, cool, that's pretty cool. If you put that player in there, he's going to win all the headers. You've also got in your IDP working on heading. How does that support you? Just like question reminders, really. And the lads just go, yeah, good point. Yep. Are we too much outcome focused on the result, or are we development focused on him getting better? Where are we? Just posing those questions really in those meetings for them to go, yeah, all right, let's change that. Let's manipulate that. Let's do that. So I guess, yeah, that's where I'm at with that at the moment. Like I said, it's a blizzard.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like everyone focuses on it, and I'm in an interesting spot as going, well, actually, how much how much relevance do the kids pay on it? Quite a lot, and at the younger age groups in particular, what do they actually need? Do we need all this time spent on that, or should you just let them play a little bit and we're trying to give them a little bit of support around some stuff they can work on, or but is it actually more focused on let's help them understand the game a little bit and play, and then we'll focus on these bits extra. But yeah, it's an interesting bit at the moment in terms
I think
of
it has to fit your style. So like if I've got a centre back and I give him an IDP of long balls, switching play, and my style's not really that, my style's building and overloading a +1, then it doesn't really fit. I've seen examples of that in the past. So I think it has to fit your style, um, or game. I don't really like the term game model, but like game plan or game philosophy. It has to fit that within the IDP. Otherwise, the lad's never going to work on it, and it's a pointless IDP.
it's almost like you've segued for me there. So I was about to come on to your game style. So you mentioned before about your belief of being expressive and looking for overloads and stuff. I said, so in terms of some overarching themes, what do you look for? You've obviously mentioned the +1 and the overloads. And then how have you embedded that into the team? So, from a week to week basis, what type of practices do you do? What type of elements do you trial to allow them to show your game principles and your philosophy, and yeah, really give them the opportunity to be ready for a game day?
Yeah, I think like loads of different ways, really. I do a lot on building. Um, I do a lot on counter pressing. I do quite a lot of like ball away, so like rondo, switch play. So basically, like we want to build, we want to have the ball. When we lose the ball, we want to get it back quickly. So that's the counter pressing part. And then 9 times out of 10, when you first want it back, there's bodies, so you need to play away. Um, so I do a lot of that. I do a lot of arriving in zone. So like between midfield and defensive zone, I do a lot of like 10 staying in there, arriving in there, and then getting the ball and then attacking and speeding up. I do a lot of like um, basically statistics as well. I do a lot of stats. So where are most assists coming from? Where are most goals scored? What type of finish? Um, so I do a lot of that. So as an example, one of the nines will have first time finishing in the box. As an example, is ILP. Because statistically, that's what's happening. So between like penalty spot and goal, it hasn't really changed. I think they called it golden zone. Um, yeah, so I do a lot of those, a lot of finishes like that, a lot of what I'd call corner runs into wider systems. From like normally the tens arriving in there, wide man playing them in, then it's cutbacks or filling areas to then finish. So I do a lot, pretty much a lot of that. Um, I do probably the build goes into like build to then slow through, and then they get attacked by the tens. It's hard for me to explain that to you here, but so it's like they're building, they play as if they've lost possession, and then now they're being attacked, which is now like the opposite, if you know what I mean. So now it's the tens getting the ball and driving with it against the defense, which is what I'm wanting tens, nines, wide players to do. And then my defense at times, because of how we play, they're going to have to deal with trying to delay, stop opponents, and waiting for recovery runs. So I do a lot of that, pretty much a lot of that.
And is that in like a phase type way?
Yeah, it can be phase, can be small-sided game types. I do a lot of drop balls as well. So I have a ball under my arm. If I'm not getting an outcome I want, I drop it to get the outcome. And increases intensity. I do everything's competitive, everything. So I'll play maybe a small-sided game, but I'll have on it that if you lose possession and you win it back within the first 3 seconds, your team get a goal. So again, that's the counter press part of what I'm wanting the team to be like. Um, any first time finish, double goals. I ask the players when I'm presenting sessions to them, like when we're presenting back to them, how do you want to reward this? What do you want to do with that? So a lot of I give them choice, but really the choice is mine. So like, how do you want to reward a first time finish? That's basically me saying, make sure you make first time finishes, and then they've got the choice, double, triple goals, or that certain player might go, do you know what? I've got left foot. I want to work on my left foot a bit more. So if it's my left foot, I want triple. So it gives him more incentive to use his left. So, but yeah, everything's competitive. All the staff are used, reffing, lino, working on rewarding counter pressing, praising the build. So everyone's got roles and responsibilities from even like ball drop. It's a lot there. I'm sorry.
No, 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 it's no need to apologize. It's the disseminating thing. It gives people a really good idea of, when you're doing those types of sessions, what they can look like. When you're discussing the bit around, you mentioned the two tens and then obviously coming into attack position. How do you manage that turnover? So if we're building the attack and we're playing, what does it look like? Where am I trying to play into if I'm the defending team before I then start getting attacked?
Yeah. So normally what we'll have is like mini goals or like a player to hit. So it would be like you build, 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 and then you fire into the mini goals, which would be set up like two tens going that way. And then the two tens that are here coming here receive. So it's literally live. Now it's live, right? Now they're attacking you.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Hopefully that
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
no, yeah, no, that makes complete sense.
So they give them targets. So it's like, right, I built, now I've played through, bang, I've hit the 10. Now my 10, the 10 receives, and now he's attacking me. Okay, cool. So they're not just building, they're also defending at the same time. So like multiple outcomes within the session.
Yeah. Um, in terms of managing the group, how do you manage the group so everyone gets opportunities to practice those things? Because I'd imagine it'd be really easy to go, well, here's my starting players, the left back, two centre halves, right back that constantly get that. But actually, what you need is group buy-in and everyone the capacity to practice those skills. So when they do go into a live game, they've had exposure to it in training. Because it just sounds like, from what you're saying there, everything you're doing is exposing them to what they're going to see in the game. So, we're going to try and play into the tens. Okay, we've lost it. We need to regroup quick if that's a counter press or if that's a drop into shape. If I've never done it in training, I'm not going to do it in the game, or there's going to be a dip. So how do you ensure that everyone's getting exposure to the tactical stuff alongside, what you need for the session to actually work?
Yeah, the easiest way we've done it is position swap. So like halfway through, right, you swap with him now, you swap with him now, you swap with him. Like that's basically the easiest way to do it. Then we've also done like, oh, I think you should go here in this practice because it's going to help you with your IDP. What do you think? Yeah, I'm on board. Bang, done. So mainly, yeah, S&C coach, Gaz, swaps. Okay, cool. Right, boys, you know where you're going now? Great. Everyone swaps. Right, play resumes. That's basically the easiest way I've found it to go, right, everyone's getting equal opportunity. Some players are working on IDP, everyone's got tactical outcomes, technical outcomes. Yeah, and just do it that way.
And I guess by having it pre-planned as well, the lads know that it's not just off the cuff going, "No, it's your go now." It's a
Yeah.
pre-planned outcome of going, "We know that you're going to be going into this at some point."
Yeah. So I guess once we've got what they want from a session, we then design the sessions, and then we present back to the group as staff and go, look, this is the session. Here's what we wanted. Here's the outcomes. We'll ask them about scoring systems, pitch size, etc. And then we'll go, right, these are the position swaps. So you'll after halfway, you'll go there, you'll go there, you'll go there. Everyone right with that? Yeah, cool. Brilliant. So yeah, once you present, but I just do it on sports session planner and present to them on a schedule. And just show them.
Cool. And last question before our very last question, and I'll let you head off because I'm
Yeah,
conscious of time. In terms of managing the risk reward, you mentioned earlier that it's a risky way to play, and you're asking boys to be really brave and expressive in possession. How have you managed that transition in terms of allowing the boys the expression to do what they need to do to retain the ball and look to progress, but also them understand that there's standards to it, and you can't just use expression as a get out of jail free card for poor bit of play. Go, well, I was just trying to be expressive. It's like, well, no, you can be expressive whilst making sure what we're doing is purposeful and whatnot. So yeah, how have you managed that process?
Yeah, I guess firstly to go back to the style, I've spoken to so many ex-players, players, managers that basically say like, throughout my career, I played for 15 years or 20 years and I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it. And I'm like, that is mad. We played professional football and didn't enjoy it. And then it'd be like, yeah, because we just didn't have the ball or like, and so it just got me onto the point of like players want to have the ball. They want like these modern players want the ball. So yeah, and then building that into a style was like whatever decision you make is your decision, but was it the right decision to fit the style? So if it's like, it was too risky, so I've shelled it, or okay, that doesn't really fit the style because you're not trying to pick anyone out. Rather, you try and maybe do a turn or play a 1-2 or retain the ball with your GK instead of just playing longer, without a clue. But then also, like, some players will go, do you know what? I saw that gap and I went for it. And I thought it would help us progress the ball and beat two players. And then look at that opposite 10 now. As soon as I got through, I was going to play opposite 10. And then we've got a 3v2. Bang. Straight away, you go, no problem. Like, that's fine. You lost the ball, they scored, no problem. You saw the gap, you went for it, no problem. Like, the rationale behind the next bit is unbelievable, like what you were going to do after that. It's not like, oh, I saw a gap, so I went through it, tried to go through it. It's like, well, I did see the next picture, the next thing. So that was why I did it. And I think you just, as a coach, you've got to be comfortable with going, no, I'm all right with that.
Right, last question for you, which is if I were to ask the players to describe you in 3 words, how would you hope they described you?
They would point blank describe me as a nutter. um, they all think I'm mad. So like how we build, what we do, they all think, wow, this is unbelievable. Like this is madness, but unbelievable. But I think they wouldn't have it any other way. I asked the lad yesterday because he's out on loan at the moment. I said, how's it going? And he was like, I just really miss playing for you, like playing and then just in having the ball. Like, we actually said we think in 4 years that goal kicks will just exist with keeper and centre back. and the other centre back or whatever will either go in midfield or go somewhere else. Yeah, that's my prediction in 4 years is that will happen. But yeah, I think they would describe me as a bit mad, with ideas, plenty of ideas. I think they would hopefully feel that they've got my respect, or I respect them. They respect me maybe, because they're involved in it. But definitely a football nutter. Just yeah, I think that would be it.
I'm going to edit this bit out. I'm going to say bye for the podcast now, and then just hang fire for 2 minutes, and then we're good.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I think no, having worked with you, I think that's a really fair description of what I think the kids would say. But as you said, it's a nice one because the nice bit is kids want to play for you and want to learn and develop in the way you're working with them. So, guys, I really appreciate you stopping off at the services this morning to have the conversation. And yeah, I think really insightful for people listening in terms of how you can co-create sessions with players and what that looks like to get the boys really invested in what you're trying to do in your style of play. So thank you so much for your time. And I know that off air we'll definitely catch up again soon. But yeah, hopefully you can catch up on air again soon as well.
No worries. Been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Initiative podcast with me, Michael Wright. Please remember to follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at the Sports Initiative Podcast, and share this podcast with friends and family. I'll see you next week.